Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alright. County Commission meeting, Monday, May 19th, 2025, 12:30 p.m. Start off with a forum. Anybody in the room? Anybody online? Seeing none. Public forum. You didn't have to grab it.
Oh, that's okay. We can let you stay on the ground.
That's all right. Best. Go on to the agenda approval. Is there any agenda items that need to be added? Seeing none, we'll move forward. The agenda is approved. Administrative business.
We have the minutes of May 12th.
Everybody had a chance to read the minutes? Any questions, corrections? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Mark. David? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
We have early checks in the amount of $155,715.81.
Majority of that is the grader, right?
Yes.
Anybody else got any questions with any warrants? Motion to approve. 166,716.81.
155,
5.
715.
My screen won't get big enough. There it is. 155, 715.81.
Second.
Second. Mr. Becker. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. I guess who's getting old now? Read.
That is all I have for today.
Okay.
Okay. I sent you the administrative report this morning. We've been having a lot of graduations in our family. Does anybody have questions about anything? Okay.
I didn't look at that yet, so
What?
I haven't had a chance to look at that yet, so.
Oh.
Feel free if you have questions after you do that to follow up, of course. Let's see. Sorry. Do you have the?
Guess we had some interviews for EMS, is that what I read?
Yes. And we'll have a finalist interview is being scheduled on Tuesday with you all, so. You have the, I guess I don't have the second one of these. I have the proposals for the exterior work. We did get two companies that responded. Yeah, that's the one that I'm missing.
Apples for apples, because there's quite a price spread there.
Well, it was I do have it. It was kind of like that the last time, with when we did the previous work on the west side. In the stairways, Mid-Continent came in a lot lower, and we used them, and they, I think they did fine. But they came in the last time a lot lower than the others as well, so.
Now, if you look at that proposal, they're bidding, trying to find the. Exact.
One thing I do wanna mention is on the, he's looking for whatever he's looking for. On the Mid-Continent, it does talk about us having the responsibility for if we need to relocate electrical or anything like that. And so that's a little bit different between the two quotes.
So the Mid-Continent on line item number 4, so this proposal includes 10 square feet of stone patching. That's where they take damaged stone and repair it. It will require us to provide a 240 amp pigtail hookup for them to
I saw that.
hook up their stuff and then either shield or relocate any. I don't know if we've got any power lines coming into that north side of the building, but then if you look at the BPW masonry,
75 square feet.
75 square feet of deteriorated fractured stone. So my question is, who's looked at this and who's determining whether there's 75 feet of damaged stone or 10 square feet of damaged stone? If there's 75 square feet of damaged stone, if we're gonna fix it, we need to fix it. If there's only 10 feet, we don't need to pay for 75 square feet, so I guess.
Yeah, good question.
So what I could do is follow up. I believe both of these companies did come out and look at the building. So I can follow up and just verify that if there is less repair necessary than the 75, that they would reduce the bid, and then vice versa.
I mean, if the first guy has bid 10 square feet and there's 75 square feet, how much more is that gonna cost us?
They've got it figured in, they got it figured in theirs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd like to have a breakdown of. And there's several different components to this project, between washing, cleaning, the mortar repair, and maybe the stone repair is not that big a deal if you fix the mortar and all the other stuff, so.
Mid-Continent has worked on this building multiple times.
Well, I know that they did the last round for sure.
I think they did some back in the, when I first got on the commission.
Could be.
I know they've been around here several times. Not saying that they know what they're looking at any better than anybody else.
I just thought there was a big difference in what the two companies were seeing. And I'm not a stone expert, so
I would agree with that.
Clarification.
I guess before we make a decision, I think we need some clarification and make sure that I don't wanna, take the low bid and have him come up and say, oh, well, there's actually 75 square feet, we charge $2,000 a square feet. You know what I mean?
Threw their bid out of water.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about it.
So I guess I'd just like a little bit of clarification on
And I'm happy to get that for you, no problem. I did want to follow up with the commission about the question that you had last Monday about the Patagonia Health, for the electronic health records for the health department for that 3-year subscription. So that is the program that they use for all their charting and also their billing for the health department. And so it is a normal budgeted expense each year. The reason that Krista went ahead and did 3 years right now is because there's a grant that we have right now that is probably gonna go away and that she needs to utilize. And so that was an eligible expense for that. She did already get them to come down on the price, and then did paying the 3 years out of this grant that we already have will reduce the amount that is needed to be paid over the next 3 years out of the tax levied portion of the budget. So that was the reasoning behind it. And she's willing to come talk to you about it if you have more questions. She's just not here today, so.
I'm just curious, how much does the health department actually do a lot of billing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they do a lot of billing through insurance companies.
Right.
And so without that, then you have to go to each individual company. This one is kind of like a hub where you can put all your billing in. It goes to the different companies. It's a kind of a streamlined process.
In-house.
Does anyone have any additional questions about that or want to ask more?
She's got a grant that's a use it or lose it. She's gonna get it paid for.
Right, and she's thinking we're probably not gonna be receiving that again, so that grant.
I guess it was just kind of frustrating for me to sit here and look online last week and find out that we were part of a pilot program with this Patagonia Health and none of us knew anything about it.
Yeah.
So we got a grant the first year that we,
Yeah, I know, but if, it would be nice if these department heads, if they do something innovative and they're part of a pilot program and they get a grant to start this for the county. I mean, we're supposed to be the leaders of the county, and it makes us look like fools if we don't know what's going on.
this was a few years ago that we got that.
It was last year, according to what you'd sent me, that last year that they started with Patagonia.
I would have to look back on that, I don't.
We have been paying it since
Yeah.
2017.
17.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's been a period of time since we've started that, so it wasn't a new thing that we just did.
It must have been an annual subscription then.
Yes, it is. It typically is an annual cost. The first year, I'm not sure how many years, the first couple of years were covered by a grant, and then it stopped being covered by a grant.
Something that Deidre started. So it'd be before Krista is all I'm saying.
Yeah. So, but just speaking to your point, Commissioner Dirks, the department heads are required to have the commission approve the grants when we apply.
I understand this has happened before.
So
Before I was
that
on.
was a discussion that would have happened with the board at that time.
Yeah. Trying to figure out when this. Can't find it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll move on.
Okay.
If we need to have Krista, just contact Tina and have her scheduled to put on an agenda at some point.
Just for billing,
Right.
something they've been using
Yeah.
several years.
Okay, so as of right now, it doesn't sound like anybody has other questions for Krista about it. Okay, all right.
Does explain it, I guess, to us what's.
Yes. Okay. So I'll bring that proposals back next week on the masonry. And I really, I was hoping to have some proposals today about the site services for the Peabody project, but I do not have those yet, so that will be on again. And so I think that's all I have on admin.
The fleet enterprise management.
Right.
Yeah, online.
On the meeting, it said that you wanted to put that back on for this week.
Yeah, I know that you did the negotiating on the county's behalf with fleet and arranged for vehicles. And I just wanted to make sure that you were in the room when a decision was made on this.
So basically, it's still also flexible right now on which vehicles we include the first year. We just basically we were looking at what we have budgeted for vehicle replacement and making progress towards getting a rotation to where we can plan ahead, and then also get the best equity out of the vehicles that we have at the right times. Is something that I would be in favor of. So I would be in favor of moving forward. Sheriff is also supportive of that. I just talked to him this morning. I don't know if you needed any other information.
I'm still kind of thinking about, you were talking about 32 vehicles?
50.
34.
Or 330,000. I'm not sure how we get 30-some vehicles.
Well, it's lease payments.
I know it's lease payments, so is the second year 330,000? The third year 330,000?
Pretty much.
It would probably be like stable like that, but we would be getting equity back. And so,
Well, our biggest equity comes from the sale of the vehicles that we own.
But then on these leased vehicles, is that
I
actually?
mean, we don't, leased vehicles, there wouldn't be equity.
well, we're buying them on a lease purchase. And so if we buy them at the right price and then we sell them when they're gonna sell the best, then we pay off that loan, so to speak, and then anything that we would get above and beyond what we owe on it would be equity.
It's
He didn't really discuss the terms of the lease purchase, though. I mean, as far as what kind of interest are we paying on it,
Okay,
those kind of things.
and I have not.
It's possible that maybe I just didn't catch it.
No, he didn't talk about that.
He was throwing out numbers. I'd like to see something in writing, something laid out. You know what, I mean, if it's a matter of, instead of keeping a vehicle for 10 years, we buy it and we sell it for, I'm sorry, but Enterprise Fleet Management, they're not in it to help us. They're in it to make money, and they're gonna make money off of us. And I just wanna make sure that we can't do the same thing on our own and save the county money. I mean, if it's a matter of, you know, you get on a rotation and you start selling your vehicles at 3 years or 5 years instead of keeping them 14 years when they're worthless. But
you're outrunning your depreciation cost, is what you're doing. But,
Yeah.
But the caveat that they bring, and this is just thinking about it from a business model, is the fact that they could bring you purchasing power and then make money off of you too. So
and
I don't know where that crossover is, but that's their sales pitch.
that's their sales pitch, but all we didn't, I mean, I'd like to see that broke down, basically. I'd like to see what it, what does it cost us right now to keep vehicles? And what does it cost if we go with with this fleet management? If we can save the county money, then I'm all for it.
What I'm looking at right now is staying budget neutral and being able to upgrade and run our fleet and then also get the data. Because we don't really we've never tracked it in that manner. And so getting started on something like this would be helpful. And then later, if we want to transition to doing it on our own, that's great. But as of right now, we have not done it in the past where we've been tracking each individual, item per vehicle to get a cost of ownership. So that was one of the things that I thought was appealing about it.
And
So,
also kind of watch the market. to
right, that's what they do, and they're
Good
the,
time to sell,
right.
good
Well,
time
and
to
he's
hold.
also talking about the residual value that we get from selling the vehicles that we already have. Which, to me, I think he probably was,
Oh, he's on. Yeah, he's on.
He's on.
Can you all hear me?
Yep.
I apologize. I've been on via my phone and I could not speak. Just jumping back in here a little bit. For one thing that was mentioned is we make money, and of course we are a for-profit company. The one thing that I'll mention there is we do have the Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative Award. So all of our fee structures have been competitively bid. The interest component is the 3-year Treasury bill plus 350 basis points. That gets locked in at time of delivery. But with the equity lease, we're funding to a residual. Well, all of that has been shared with the attorney, along with the agreements from a pricing standpoint, and that has been factored into that financial analysis. And as mentioned, yes, we do make money. We are for profit, but truly our philosophy and our goal is to help you reduce the budget, save money, and then get in and out of the vehicles at the right time. So as you mentioned, we do have that buying power on the front end, but also on the resale side and handling the logistics and getting in and out of these vehicles at the right time at the lowest cost of ownership. And that's why the partnership aspect of it and us being there so frequently is very important to us.
so what are you quoting for Treasury, 1 year?
He said 3-year.
3 year?
Yes. 3-year Treasury bill plus 350 basis points. And when we fund, we're funding to a residual. So on those 36-month equity leases that we have, about 50% of the fleet or the vehicles are recommended right now replaced at 36 months. If we fund it from 50 to 25 and sell for 35, you get that $10,000 of equity. We're not funding all the way to a $0 balance in those 3 years. We're just funding the portion you're going to use so that we can get 34 vehicles and do more with less and replenish the fleet, as Tina mentioned, and get a healthier, more operational fleet. And through that, and through our analytics, you're going to see a massive reduction in the maintenance and the fuel as we're implementing a significantly newer age of fleet. And that's what that 10-year analysis that we put together, the goal of that is to show what you're doing today from a capital budget, equipment, equity, and an operational budget versus what it would look like through that equity lease model.
So our initial rate would be 6.5%.
Ballpark, yes.
3-year Treasury plus 350 basis points.
Correct.
6.5%. I'm not saying it's high, it's not great.
Yeah, and we have the option to self-fund. So if you want to pay cash for the vehicles, and that number changes over the years. And in a few years from now, if the rates go back down, then we can get out of those vehicles or do a refinance to get you that lower rate. The other component, again, we're not funding the entire portion. We're only funding the portion that you're going to use. So there is some additional cash flow benefits there.
Fluctuation rate is shy of 4% and then 4%. I mean,
Plus
between
three
your
and a
high,
half, plus 3.5.
350 basis points.
We ever thought about putting a package of vehicles together on a lease purchase?
You could buy one at a time, seems like.
Yeah, that's usually what we're doing, and that's the budget that they're using, that 245. And then you combine that with a 34 at a sell at 275.
At 275, I think that's a little aggressive to think we're gonna get that much out of the used stuff we've got.
And we're very confident on that number. When we analyze these, we look at historical averages at auction values. So that is one area that I'm extremely confident we are going to save you money in, is selling these vehicles, as we sell a couple million vehicles every year through enterprise, and you're able to capitalize on that infrastructure that we have.
Was selling at auction.
So we sell about 85% of our vehicles go direct to our wholesale buyers. The 15% are the vehicles that are, 150,000 plus, extremely aged out. So a portion of these vehicles, yes, will go through auction. Especially round one, as we're getting rid of the majority of the older vehicles. And then from a enterprise perspective, 100% of those vehicles that we bring in, of this 34 vehicles, those are going to go direct to our wholesale buyers. And that's absolutely one of the areas in the government space where we're able to provide a lot of value from a financial perspective.
So you have a worksheet comparison on your purchasing power versus what average somebody else's purchasing power would be. And that difference in value.
Are you talking from a retail or a commercial side?
Yeah, so basically look at some of this stuff on whether you do it yourself or you use your services, and how your services pay off on just the buying power side of things.
Just the buying power, we have a $60 markup from a Sourcewell cooperative standpoint. That's our markup that we have. From that perspective, we can buy the exact same way that you're buying today. I can buy off state bid. I can buy from local dealers. I can buy from our aftermarket vendor pools, our enterprise pools. We have a tremendous amount of different ways that we can do that. But when we order direct from the factory, we're pricing them invoice less all government incentives plus $60. So. And with 34 vehicles, some of the manufacturers will, over the years, they've thrown additional incentive monies to our government clients when we're talking over 25 vehicles. So sometimes we can even get a greater buy from an incentive perspective.
Go ahead.
Well, just that my kind of hope and goal is to be able to allow us to set these passenger vehicles aside to a third-party vendor to help us with those, and allow us to focus more in-house on our heavy equipment and our more expensive, like our ambulances, all our graders, all of those things that we need to develop a rotation schedule on. I think doing that is going to be a really big project, and funding wise and everything else, and it's going to be a lot to keep track of. So that was another reason that I was kind of looking at somebody with known expertise to take this piece. But
Plus you do it yourself, you're not getting any of the data without somebody data logging.
there are ways to do it,
Yeah.
but we don't have that information right now, so. I'm open to whatever the board wants to do, but those were kind of the reasons that we were starting to look at this, so.
I visited with Matt over at Hillsboro the other day, and of course, they're doing that, of course, on a lot smaller scale than what we are. He really doesn't have any,
Feedback yet?
no feedback yet. They've only been in it like 4 months or something like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, a year from now, you have a better feel for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I partnered with them in the other piece. They got really aggressive. I want to say they did 25 vehicles right out of the gate. So very aggressive given their size. And yes, they are a newer client, but we have a tremendous amount of other clients surrounding you all that have been doing many years. So and in that, I believe, Tina, did you have a chance to chat with a few of those other clients, or was it just Hillsboro?
I was mainly chatting with Hillsboro.
Gotcha.
I would like to see a couple of years before we make this move, if we do go there, just to see how Hillsborough gets along and what their thoughts are 2 years from now.
How much, we're talking a quarter person to take care of the vehicles, a tenth of a person. You know, somebody has to manage these 40 vehicles. Right now, you're doing it, you know.
Well, right now, no, nobody's really doing it.
Okay.
The departments are kind of managing their own
Yeah.
view.
Right, every department kind of just.
Everybody finds their own deal.
Yeah, and one other piece that I'll add, that from a budget standpoint, we leverage that 245. So that's, where the numbers came from of how we could implement this. We've certainly got flexibility on the front end from a quantity standpoint, what we do, but also down the road, if you guys do this and you want to buy the vehicles out 2 years down the road, if it's decide you want to do it in-house or whatever that looks like, I'm very confident that if we can get this partnership started in some fashion, whether it's working with the budget that we have or a segment of vehicles or whatever it be, I'm very confident. You mentioned 2 years. 2 years down the road, you're absolutely going to feel this, and the partnership will continue. And from that perspective, if you want to self-fund or pay cash down the road, we have that option as well. So you're not locked into a leasing model. We have the self-fund model as well. From a proposal standpoint, we went with the equity lease because that allows us to do more with less and really get this thing rolling with the budget that we currently have. So long and short, there's flexibility to change the model with enterprise, or you don't. We have to earn your business every single year. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Just see a cost savings in the long run.
I see an efficiency.
Same thing, yeah.
See, the risk is minimal because you retain the asset if you choose to do so. So you gain in data. I see it falling at least under the first 2 years, possibly the third, underneath our budget allowance that we've budgeted for this year, potentially with the same number budgeted next year, same number budgeted the following year. So that gives you a 2.25 year projection. At that point, you've always bow out if it's not panning out on the following year. Basically buy it out because now you're at the 36 month. So I'm not seeing a lot of risk in this, is what I'm saying.
I see the positive in it.
I don't know I understand wanting to see some more data from other places. Another year from now, there's certain vehicles that are in this total that are gonna depreciate down.
But you can't look at depreciation the same way the county as you can with we've got some county vehicles that are probably 7 or 8 years old that don't have very many miles on them. We got others that got tons on it. It depends on the department really, but you're starting off with an inflated rate for one thing. I mean, we could if we did a package of vehicles and set it out on a lease purchase, I know we'd get 2.5% less rate than that.
We'd be at 4.
Yeah, and if you guys wanted to use your own funding, you can do that. Everything remains the same. You can do that through our program and leverage all of our resources from an analysis standpoint, getting in and out of the vehicles at the right time. I mean, that's what this is. I mean, it's essentially a lease purchase, but you're leveraging us to sell the vehicle at the right time, not just run it till it's dead as we have historically.
Okay, who determines what the right time is?
We are going to meet with the team 3 to 4, 5 times per year, and we're leveraging the market and the knowledge of the industry, and we're bringing that to your page so that you guys can make those decisions. If we have a 36-month lease and next year, the market goes crazy high for whatever reason, we can get out at 12 months, and we're going to bring that recommendation. If we can profit off a vehicle or we're in an equitable position after a year, we're bringing that recommendation to you. If the market goes down, we're in a recession, the incentives change, whatever it be, we're going to extend that vehicle from 36 to 48 to 60 to 10 years to whatever it be, and we'll bring those recommendations as we go. But we are feeding you the data and working with your team and knowing both financially, operationally, and really strategically on what their needs are to do the right thing at every given point. So that's our value. Yes, we 2% interest. We make $60 on the front end, $4.95 on the back end. We make money, but I'm 100% confident that we are going to save the entity money through doing what's best every single year and operating at the lowest cost of ownership, not just paying cash and running these vehicles out X amount of years, hoping that we do the right thing or whatever it be. We are bringing that hard data to you so that you all, from a leadership perspective, can make really good decisions.
I kind of look at it from the budget process side too. I mean, every department brings us a budget every year. And to me, the department head is the manager of those vehicles in that department.
Well, if we followed this model, we would have to basically you would have a new department that is fleet and
Just have a separate fund.
and have an administrator that took care of the fleet, and the department head would then,
Contribute to the fleet fund.
well, it would be pulled out of they would just not have it in their budget anymore. We'd pull that out and they would, if they wanted changes to the fleet, then they would have to come to us and ask for. Now, if they wanna buy a new vehicle, they can put it in their budget and ask for it. I mean, it would be a total different way of doing business. You couldn't, I mean, the individual departments couldn't. Yeah. Not effectively anyway.
Tina and I worked with the actual department heads for each department, and we spec them out and we built the budget independently. So if you look at that budget model worksheet, that's effectively what we did. We broke it out so they each have their own individual bucket. And to your point, we can absolutely do an entity-wide fund or we can do a department fund, but that's our typical process is we want the department heads involved. And I mean, I spent multiple days with these department head, 30-minute sessions with each of them. And we really worked through and got into the weeds of what their needs are operationally to make sure we're not, we didn't just put pieces together. We worked with them and then help them prepare their budget as we did here and have really hard numbers.
Yeah, so the idea has always been to try to streamline the funding and still have the departments put in, but do it all through a separate fund, not hiring a person because we'd be utilizing a third party to manage that, to where it would just be a streamlined way of funding it and also capital planning ongoing. So whether it's showing up in their individual budget or not, it could still be there and just show as a transfer into the fund that we're paying those lease purchases out of, where they would still be involved. I wouldn't want to ever take the ability or just, the decisions away from the department heads and the commission on that. So anyway, that wasn't the purpose of it.
Yeah. I don't know how much time he has, if he could wait and postpone this till later so we can get caught up on the agenda items.
Well, I think maybe just see if there's, I don't know if we need to keep talking about it if the commission isn't interested in it. So if you are, then maybe we see what specific information that you still want.
So,
Maybe just take a temperature
yeah,
and so we know what to do, and then table it for another day.
I see it as a value in business. I'm in favor of it.
Presently, I'm not.
In favor.
I guess I didn't see the budget breakdown sheets, or I missed that, or.
Yeah, I was writing down like mad when he was in here
Well,
the other day.
I guess I'd just like to see this whole thing out and laid out in writing
So
before
you can see it in black and white.
in black and white, because I was trying to,
No, if I'm scribbling.
yeah, I did the same thing last week. I was trying to write down numbers
So
and
you're not 100% no.
I'm not 100% no. Like I say, I just need to see the value in it for the county.
Absolutely not.
We have the potential.
Okay. So shall we put it back on?
Yeah.
And if you could get us information that you've got laid out, that we can, get
Get the Excel, get the
Paper.
spreadsheet.
Yeah, I can do that. It's, as soon as it's in place, it's out of date. So just know that it's gonna have some, because everything is pretty fluid with people, for example, the sheriff buying vehicles and things like that, but yeah.
You wouldn't even be in favor of it if it was local finance.
Well, I would be more consideration, because that's gonna be a big cost saving just right there.
Well, I'll find out about that as well.
But that's deviating from what they're saying that they're gonna do.
Not necessarily. He was saying that wasn't an option.
Right.
But we
We
would
can
have
talk
to
more about that.
figure out our own loans that way.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hi.
You do, Lisa.
Y'all got copies of this, right? Okay, then here's one that we came up with afterwards, so
Pass them on down.
For one slot.
Yeah.
Each one.
might be a couple extras there. Okay, we are the Marion County Conservation District, and we're requesting our budget. We actually reduced it this year, $5,000. We're happy with that. We're receiving extra money from the state this year to help pay for the health insurance that the district has taken out for its employees. So With that, Matt's got some,
That's all you. This is your proposal, not mine.
well, this is, you'll see on the little sheet like this, it's that. Did you not? Yeah, there you go, she got it. Yeah, we're reducing our request and according what Matt has got lined up for us and told us that because we are a month ahead of time this year and we're 2 months, we've had a delay in the office with the government funding, that our numbers are not as large down on this one. There's like, says there's like 419 new acres, 415 new acres, and there will be more than that. We will more than double what we had last year because of the funding, holding of funds through the government. Anybody else got something they want to say?
I'd like to say, we got a couple new commissioners, and we're glad to see you here. Our budget has been, essentially the Conservation District uses the tax money from the county to help pay for salaries we were required to pay for, to have, so at the NRCS, can have an office open in Marion County. And so it's, we leverage your money to get state program money for our farm producers, our agricultural people, and also for what we're contractually agreeing to do for the National Conservation Resources, federal government. I would say that with the change in winds from DC, I can see in the future we may have to locally have to start paying more for some of the programs that we're doing and some of the overhead. But for the moment, I think we're okay with lowering our request slightly from last year. So.
And I think Lisa has something she wants to tell about on her RAPS program.
We have the RAPS program, and I don't know how many people are familiar with that. It's basically water quality in Marion County. It kind of stretches from the reservoir up past Durham is the priority area, down into Harvey County, a little bit into McPherson County. These are funds from the EPA, and so we started the grant process writing. We're finishing our third year of the current grant, started writing the grant in January. We were prepared for not getting nearly as much as we had before, and we were very pleasantly surprised that we actually got a raise. We're getting $150 additional, and we're able to increase our area. The priority areas that we can work into include the area directly adjacent to the reservoir, which we've never had before, which made 0 sense. And we also included one area that's a little bit farther northwest of Durham. So we're up to $1,050,000 that we bring in. I would say 99% of that money is paid out to people that live in Marion County. We do some in Harvey, and I have yet to write a check to someone in McPherson County because it's a very, very small part. So we were really excited about being able to do that and the fact that we got approved. So that was very good news that we got just recently.
And that involves kind of just the drainage area that comes through the reservoir beyond.
It comes to the reservoir and then also the Cottonwood. So we've got west of Marion, we do the South Cottonwood up to the North Cottonwood, all the way to the border, and then down Doyle Creek above Peabody, where we've actually worked with cover crops to check rainfall infiltration to reduce flooding, because they have flooding problems in Peabody sometimes. So we've been working in that area. So there's one small area there on Doyle Creek, and then the rest is pretty much just Cottonwood drainage. And the county lake, that little unnamed creek that goes into there.
Well, thanks for getting back to me.
Any other questions?
Thank you for giving us a budget less than last year. You've set the precedent for the rest of the.
Well, I thought we was gonna be asking for more, but Governor Kelly decided to go ahead and approve that extra money from the state, so it's like, well, we can reduce it this year, that ought to make them happy. So, have any other questions for anybody?
How many landowners do you work with in an average year?
Oh, Matt?
I can tell you for RAPS, I'm doing the actual year-end reporting right now. The amount of best management practices, the actual things that we've done on the ground. I have 165 through the three. If you wanted to break that down to an average, I would say safely 70 producers just for the RAPS program, just RAPS.
2024, I believe the number was somewhere around 360 that we serviced through federal programs.
And that's not CRP, that is we're completely different from that.
Just the water control issues.
I'm water quality, Matt will handle anything doing with air, soil, water, all of it.
In the conservation district, I think we had 11 contracts this for fiscal. The state is off, their fiscal year runs July 1 to June 30th. So this, for fiscal year 25, we had 11 contracts.
Conservation district.
But that totaled like about $69,000 worth of funds that we put on the ground of conservation work.
What do you do for information and education? I mean,
We have,
for the majority of landowners in Marion County that don't have land, that may have a piece of property but don't have big enough properties to work in the.
we've been given funds through Kansas Association of Conservation Districts to hold farmer-to-farmer meetings. And we had 2 of those last year. We haven't had one yet this year. We stationed one down by Peabody, and it was held at the library. And then the other one was held over at Canton. We did a joint meeting with McPherson County, kind of covered the western end of Marion County. So
They had pretty good attendance at the Peabody one there a year ago.
yeah, we had I think 18 people, which we held it at the library, so didn't have a lot of room, but yeah, we had good turnout, and we had a good turnout at Canton. We had I think 23 people that showed up to that meeting, but that was also.
Yeah, fourth grade.
We have the 4th grade day. We do Conservation Day. We just had that April 29th. And we have.
Was that the fairgrounds here just?
Yes. We do that over
Nice
there.
turnout there, looked at one.
We had 140 kids.
I would also like to say that we don't have a minimum amount of acres that you have to work on. We do not work with just large producers. We work with people that have 0 acres and have a yard. So if you're interested in gardening projects, we work with everyone. They don't have to be set up to receive federal funds. They don't have to be a large farmer. We work with everyone that walks in the office. We have a number of gardening contracts with people that are using their gardens. So we work with everyone in the county if given the opportunity.
I guess from the information and education, there's a lot of people that don't know what you do, that they don't know that's available.
Yeah, we're hoping, starting with the 4th graders and getting them familiar with us, that we're getting more outreach that way.
I don't have a 4th grader, so.
A couple of comments that I think attended that Peabody meeting a year ago came back and surprised at just how many total programs there are out there that could help certain producers. People within our county, I believe, even though I didn't attend at that one.
We always invite all of the public to attend our annual meeting, which is a good source of information as well, where not only do you get a free meal, but we have always bring in an informational speaker and award producers in the county for the great work they do. So you guys are always welcome to that as well. And
Yes.
we publicize that on Facebook and through our newsletter.
And I always send an invitation out for the commissioners to attend too.
I had 2 things the same evening. Had to choose one or the other.
So
Well, the RAPS program is very valuable to water quality in the reservoir. I've got one on my property. It was been there for 20 years now, almost 15 anyway.
It's been a long time when that started.
Thank you for all your input. Comes budget time, we'll put it in there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you guys for that.
Core community.
I'm here.
Sorry,
No,
we're going over a little bit. So.
that's okay. I brought some information packets. Sorry I didn't get them emailed.
This is better than last year when I just got hit by a tornado and these are all stuck in my car. A year ago today. Do you want one too? Huh?
Yes. I am the vice chair.
So since we do have some new people on the commission, are you familiar with core community?
A little bit.
So what I put in here for you guys, and you can review it, a lot of it on your own. This is our data from 2023. And then this one's 2024, and this one's 2025. And I brought all of these so that you can see how our numbers are changing in Marion County. You know, how many families we've gotten out of poverty, how much debt we've reduced in families, how much the family's monthly income as a group is increasing. So I gave you all of those so you could see that comparison. As of right now, in Marion County, we have, in the last 3 years, got 8 families out of poverty, which means their income is at or above 200% of the poverty level. Many of those are still with us because they're working on building other resources. Those other resources are in this little brochure. And I can show you where to find them. So right here where it says, what is poverty? There's 11 resources there, and in core community, we work on all 11 of those resources because we found that if families are lacking any or all of these resources, they can pull them right back into financial poverty even if they get out. And then the last thing I have in here for you is our impact diagram, which I brought before. And what this diagram does is show you how poverty affects everyone in the community, whether you're in poverty or not. This is how poverty affects everyone. So, when people get out of poverty, one of the second degree impacts is it's reduced high school dropout rates. Education programs and certifications have increased. Stabilization of a family. GEDs and increased job longevity. Third degree impact comes out to home ownership, reliable vehicle ownership. Restored families, health insurance, driver's licenses. You have no idea how many people come to us, don't have a driver's license, a birth certificate, social security card, they don't have any of that stuff. Much less reliable transportation. And then in our fourth degree of impact, it's declining IEPs. That's IEPs that are based on trauma in the home, not IEPs on special needs. Lowered free and reduced lunches. Kids are able to get on traveling sports teams. More people go to church. Sobriety, hope, home ownership. We've seen all of these things happen in our program. We've got 2 people in the program now who've purchased a home in Marion County through USDA Rural Development. And one of those families was living at Main Street Ministries before that happened. So that was a huge stride in their life. What questions do you have for me?
Well, to me, the best part is, like you say, in getting a couple of people with the financing that it takes.
It takes a lot of financing to run our program.
I mean, to get people.
The USDA Rural Development is really easy for them to work with, as long as they have stable
They don't know
employment.
how to get there.
But it's one of the things we do at core community is show them what all the resources are. We do a lot of fundraising. We come here every year and ask you guys for a little help. Most of the churches in the county donate to us. We hold some fundraisers throughout the year. I knock on all the business doors. We partner with the Lions Club out at the fair and at the Arts and Crafts Show in Hillsborough. We help man their booth for them, and in turn they give us a nice donation every year. Because it does cost to run this program. We have very minimal staff, but we do have to have staff. A lot of the money that comes in our program goes into our benevolence fund, which is what we use directly with the families to move obstacles out of their way. So we are not a Band-Aid that you can just come to us like the Salvation Army or your church and say, I can't afford my electric bill. And
we just pay your electric bill. But if you come to us and you're part of our group and you say, I can't get to work because my tires are bald and they're all flat, and you have a job, we would probably fund that so that they could get to work and continue to move forward in their progress. You know, I have a family right now, seems like a small thing, but it's not. The husband in this family has been working on one of the farms out here, and somehow he keeps ripping right by the pocket in his jeans, and then it just keeps going. And, you know, they don't have a lot of money, and he's running out of clothes to wear to work, so we helped them. We took him over to the Etc. shop and helped him buy some more jeans for work. We've helped with car repairs, we've helped with dental work. You know, anything that might be standing in the way of a family moving forward. We help them with financially, and that's where a lot of our money goes. And then to insurance and employees. And I remember what else our budget goes to. I meant to put a copy of the budget in there, I forgot to. But if anybody wants it, I will email it in for you. Any other questions?
Budget request.
I'm sorry.
What was the budget request number? I didn't see it.
We haven't, yeah, we don't know.
We're requesting $10,000.
Anybody else have any other questions? These are all the things that we have to think about at budget time, but you gotta get your information now.
If there's anything else you wanna know about core community, I'm happy to tell you about it.
Core started out as under a different name, what did it?
Core just replaced what, it didn't really change to core, it was.
We replaced Circles in
Circles,
County. For whatever reason, Circles was failing. And the gentleman at the time that was running Circles reached out to Youth Core Ministries, which is the parent organization of Core Community, and said, you know, we Core Community in Marion County, if you guys were not gonna make it. And Youth Core Ministries said, well, here we come. And part of their goal as a bigger organization is to have a core community in every county in Kansas that wants one. Those data sheets I gave you shows you all of our sites, and on the bottom line, the big numbers that are coming out statewide.
Questions?
Well, thank you for your time, I really appreciate it. There's a sea of blue in the hallway.
Yeah. Yeah. On to the proclamation. There is a sea of blue.
See, I told you.
Party was out there. Well, thank you all for letting me come in and do a quick little presentation, a special recognition, and then we'll go out and take a look at the ambulance here in a few minutes. But not everybody knows, but this week is National EMS Week. So we brought in some of the crew, and part of that National EMS Week is I like to do a recognition of some life-saving measures that have been performed throughout the year. Would you like me to read I have a proclamation prepared. Would you like me to read the proclamation, or Jonah, would you like to?
I'll sit back and watch you.
Okay, I'll read it though. All right. Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas emergency medical services are a vital public service, and whereas the members of EMS teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency medical care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden injury or illness. And whereas the members of EMS teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas through service, compassion, dedication, EMS providers represent the very best of the American spirit. With selflessness, professionalism, and grace under fire, they provide essential care. And whereas It is appropriate to recognize the value and accomplishments of EMS providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Marion County, Kansas, in recognition of this, do hereby proclaim the week of May 18th through May 24th as Emergency Medical Services Week. With a theme, We Care for Everyone, we encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities.
Very good. Make a motion to move forward with proclamation for Emergency Medical Services Week. Kent, got the second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Well, this one will have your signature on it.
And as part of this week, as I mentioned before, I wanted to take some special consideration and recognition of a couple crew members. We have one that is unable to be present here with us today, Mickey Price. He had a long morning this morning. He's not feeling very well, so he elected to stay home, and I'll get him his challenge coin when I next see him later this week. But we have these, we went out and got these challenge coins. These are small token to be presented to Paramedic Supervisor Wynn, EMT Connor Hebert, EMR Matt Hine, and Paramedic Tegan Decker. These coins represent a small token of appreciation for saving a life. March 31st, in cooperation with Hillsborough Community Hospital, Hillsborough Fire, and Hillsborough Police Department, and several bystanders of an incident, a life was saved. I've been trying to get a hold of the individual, so I can't divulge much more information of that because he's been hard to get in contact with. But he was presented in a lethal arrhythmia. He was brought back, and he has since been released home with 0 deficit. So he's still walking today because of the efforts of these crews. So if you would encourage me, I have some certificates. The CEO of HCH was unable to make it today. And I'll also get some certificates of achievement and thanks to Hillsborough Fire and Hillsborough PD later this week. So if you would all care to join me, I have the new ambulance parked outside. If we would go down and take a look at that as part of EMS week. So I don't know if we need to.
Make a motion that we recess the meeting until 1:45.
Second.
All those in favor?
I just want to make one comment. I want to thank the whole department for everything you do every day. Sometimes we take some of those things for granted, but it hits home. You lost one of your colleagues in Butler County last week. You know, totally unexpected, I'm sure. But it's not that it's not an unstressful job, and we thank you.
Well, thank you, sir.
We just got moved into a tornado watch too. So.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the front of the building.
You're all right.
Trying to figure out where the 10 square feet of damage.
Did you find it? All right, we're back in the meeting. Yeah. Back from our recess. Any further business? Not, a motion to adjourn?
Did you want, I'm sorry,
What?
did you want to do commissioner comments?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Anybody with any commissioner comments? All right.
Mike, any comments today?
I'll leave you puzzled again.
So, motion to adjourn, a second on, who got the second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Nay.